the WNBA and Players Association to continue to negotiate in good faith. So this news in itself kind of doesn't change anything. Basically what's going to happen is the players in the league are going to continue doing what they've been doing. If they made another extension for another 30 days or another 2 weeks or another whatever, it honestly doesn't matter. Until there's a lockout or a strike or an agreement is made, like those are the only times that something really changes in what is currently happening at the moment. And Breanna Stewart actually alluded to this in an interview that
They never wanted this to come out. This was supposed to stay behind closed doors, locked inside private emails and confidential calls, with no cameras, no microphones, and no fans watching. But once the information leaked, there was no stopping what came next. This wasn't a rumor about trades, rotations, or even money. It was about cutting 5 of the biggest names connected to the WNBA's 2026 plans. According to multiple insiders, the decision had already been made. No warning, no public discussion, just one sentence repeated behind the scenes.
As soon as Carter locked in, Caitlin was reminded of just that.
If you think this is just another piece of
a body on Reese, Clark gets freed up from
locker rooms are boiling, and the WNBA is facing one of the most explosive internal moments in history.
And I also just think it's crazy that we haven't heard anything about the stuff that the WNBA is already missing, the stuff that the WNBA is already behind on when you talk about the offseason timeline. Last year, by this point in time, we have gotten a full 2025 WNBA schedule, and we have also had the expansion draft for the Golden State Valkyries. This year in the WNBA, there are 2 expansion teams that they need to do a draft for. We have no clue about the season schedule, and everybody has just been super quiet about it. Why isn't the media asking about these things? Why is there no date for the expansion draft?
It all started quietly. Late night calls, emergency meetings, executives speaking in half sentences. Then someone leaked part of an internal conversation, just enough to set everything on fire. The message didn't say review, evaluation, or discussion. It said cut 5 players removed from long-term planning, removed from the vision for 2026. And once those words reached the wrong phones, the league lost control of the narrative completely. Agents were the first to react, phones buzzing nonstop as players began calling each other, asking the same question again and again. Is this real? Within hours, the rumors exploded across private chats, then social media, and finally mainstream discussion. The WNBA didn't release a statement, and that silence made everything worse because it confirmed one thing: something big had happened. According to insiders familiar with the situation, the decision was not voted on by a committee, debated publicly, or shared with player representatives in advance. The call came from the very top, and that's what triggered the outrage. Veteran players reportedly felt blindsided. Some found out through whispers, others saw screenshots before hearing from the league directly. One source described the mood inside multiple locker rooms as ice cold. Another called it betrayal, because the names being whispered weren't just any names, they were champions, leaders, and the faces of the league.
Was like nearly mid-30s. And it says it resulted in 700 million losses over the course of the deal. The union believe that projection is false. Just putting it out there, if it was only 700 millions of losses, this deal would be signed already. And you might be saying, what does that mean? If it was only the owners signing off on this would be signed already. Because you might be saying, oh, WNBA owners don't want to lose money. 700 millions of dollars of losses. There will be, by the end of this deal, there will be 20 WNBA teams. That is $35 million per WNBA team over the course of, I think, 7 years. That is $5 million a year lost per team, while franchise values are increasing by...
Breanna Stewart's name started circulating first, and that alone sent shockwaves. Then came Chelsea Gray, followed by Alyssa Thomas, Jewel Lloyd, and Kelsey Plum. Each name added more fuel to the fire. Fans refused to believe it, and players didn't want to accept it, but the consistency of the whispers made one thing clear: this wasn't random noise. Then the biggest question hit like a thunderbolt. If this can happen to them, who's next? People started asking about Aya Wilson, while others brought up Angel Reese. There were no confirmations, no denials, just more silence. Behind the scenes, emotions boiled over. Players weren't just angry, they were insulted. One insider claimed a veteran said, "They built this league on our backs, and now they're cutting us like numbers on a spreadsheet." Another added, "This feels like punishment, not progress."
As for what Engelbert is alleged to have said to Collier, if she actually suggested Caitlin Clark should be grateful for what she makes off the court, that's preposterous. Did you miss the Iowa years? Clark is the Tiger Woods tide that lifts all boats. And we know this show is proof. The highest rating we have ever had followed one of her games at Iowa. The WNBA has benefited from her presence more than the other way around, even though this year for Caitlin Clark was essentially lost to injury. But it's a league that's at a flashpoint. According to Sportico, franchise valuations have soared. Players want more money, and the CBA expires at the end of this month. This was a whole lot more than just a shot across the bow. The WNBA Finals begin this Friday, and we typically hear from Adam Silver on the eve of the NBA Finals. Kathy Engelbert has got to do more than
frustrate Carter
Even
onto
though
her,
Caitlin
a familiar
Clark's season
face,
was
but not
essentially lost
in
to
a good
injury
way.
this year,
As soon as Carter
the
locked in,
WNBA is
Caitlin
at
was
a
reminded of
flashpoint.
just that.
According to Sportico,
This is a fever team
franchise
that opened up 11 games in the first 20
players
days.
are
Already
pushing
starting
for
off
more
with a
money
foul,
as
and on the
collective
next
bargaining
possession,
agreement
Carter put on the
expires
pressure
at the
again,
end
but
of this month.
CC found
This
Boston, who
situation
could
was
bail her
far
out.
more than just
Of
a
the
warning
league.
shot.
That's
With
how
the
good Angel
WNBA
Reese has been.
finals beginning this Friday, and with figures like Adam Silver typically addressing the
Three
strengths
Sky
before the
players
NBA
coming over.
finals, many believe
She
Kathy
started off
Engelbert
hot.
must
She
do
blew
more.
right by Marina
The
Mabrey,
frustration isn't
driving
about
straight
being
to the hoop
replaced.
and putting
It's
the
about
first
how it was
points on the
handled.
board.
There
Right
was no
after, the
respect,
defense
no
made an
transparency,
adjustment,
no
switching Kennedy.
conversation.
Find a body on Reese. Clark gets freed up.
These
From
offices
the top.
reportedly shifted into full damage control mode, holding emergency calls, involving lawyers, and
Made an
repeatedly
adjustment,
rewriting
switching
PR
Kennedy
statements
Carter
in an
onto
effort
her,
to
a
contain the
familiar
fallout.
face.
Find a
But the
body
damage has
on
already
Reese.
Fans
Clark
began
gets
questioning
freed up.
everything.
But
Why
not
now?
in a good
Why
way.
these
As soon
players?
as Carter locked
Why in
in,
secret?
Caitlin was reminded
Sources
of
close
just
to the
that.
situation say the decision
This is a
wasn't
fever
about
team that opened
basketball
up 11
performance,
games
With a
but
foul.
about
And on the
structure,
next possession,
finances,
Carter put on the pressure
contracts,
again,
and
but
long-term
CC found
flexibility,
Boston, who could bail her
essentially a
out.
reset for 2026.
Made an
Insiders claim the
adjustment,
league
switching
wants a
Kennedy
new
Carter
image
onto
moving
her, a
forward,
familiar
with younger
face.
faces,
Find a body
different marketing
on
priorities,
Reese.
and
Clark
control
gets freed up.
future
In a good
spending.
way. As soon as Carter
However,
locked
that
in,
explanation
Caitlin was
did little to
reminded of
calm
This is a fever team that opened up 11 games in the first 20 days.
already
felt
starting
clear
off
and
with a
brutal.
foul.
You're
And on the
expendable.
next possession,
And
Carter
once
put
that
on the
message
pressure
spreads,
again, but
trust
CC found
disappears.
Boston, who could
Some
bail her
insiders
out.
say players are already discussing
That's how good Angel Reese has been.
public or official yet, but private meetings and quiet planning are underway as they watch
Three
the
Sky
league's
players coming over.
Players Association is making sure that the players have somewhere to work out, but to me, I just feel like this is preparing for possibly the worst. And a lot of people are saying like, it's fine, the season doesn't start until May, they still have plenty of time, they can still get a deal done. You guys, they don't have a lot of time. There's a lot of things to do during the off season, and we've also seen, like, I'm sorry to just be blunt about this, we've seen how the WNBA runs. It's not always the most organized organization. Like, they need the extra time. They need the free agency period to get the players signed. They need to do this expansion draft. They need to do the literal WNBA draft. And I thought it was so interesting because the Toronto Tempo tweeted this. They said, big things coming your way. A glimpse into our 2026. And it says a snapshot of the year ahead. Schedule release. That should have been done in December. The schedule is normally released in December. WNBA expansion draft. The WNBA expansion draft was done last year, or 2024, I guess, in December of 2024, ahead of the 2020.
Because this wasn't just about 5 names, this was about power. Who controls the WNBA? Who gets a voice? Who can be erased without warning? The longer the league stays quiet, the louder those questions become. Sponsors are reportedly paying attention, media figures are circling, and former players are starting to speak out in coded language. Everyone feels it, something has shifted. And if this decision stands, insiders warn it could change the relationship between players and the league forever, because once stars believe loyalty doesn't matter, everything changes. Negotiations change, commitment changes, the future changes. Right now, the league is standing at a crossroads: double down or step back, reverse course or risk long-term fallout. No matter what happens next, one thing is already clear: this leak exposed cracks that were never meant to be seen, and the anger being reported isn't fading, it's growing. So now the question is yours: was this a necessary reset or a disastrous mistake? Should the league explain itself or stick to silence? Let me know what you think. Like this video if players deserve respect. Comment your take below and subscribe because this story is far from over and the next move could be even bigger.